All right, everybody. Welcome to the last episode of the season of Tacos en Europa. I am Jorge,
My name's Edgar.
and we're here to talk about that. The ending of the season officially. We have the last games that were played. All the seasons are closed down. We have all the results. We have all the opinions ready to go. And before we get started, I want to invite you guys to follow us on all our social media platforms. We have, TikTok, we have Reddit, we have Instagram, Facebook. What else?
I mean, some of those aren't even active, so
I mean, whatever, just look us up and then follow it, and then you'll be able to get all the updates that you need. You can also see us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like, a comment. Let us know what you want to see on the next episode. And also, you can hear us on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Tacos en Europa anywhere, and you will be able to find us. But Inke, let's go ahead and get started, like always, with the Premier League. Raul Jimenez.
maybe for the last time.
Maybe for the last time in a while, unless the rumors are true. We have certain rumors of this player going here and this player going there. But for now, it's looking like this is going to be Raul Jimenez last season with Wolverhampton Wanderers, who finishes in 13th of the league. And Raul Jimenez, his fight this season is versus the world. He plays 846 minutes, and he leaves with only 1 assist and no goals in the regular season, but 3 goals in the cup. And this is a season where Raul Jimenez just kind of doesn't become himself again. He has obviously that life-threatening injury in his head that could have literally killed him. And he just doesn't seem like he's going to become the person again that he was before, at least not in the Premier League. And he suffers a lot. He doesn't really do anything. He gets put on the bench at the end of the season when the new coach comes in. And as much as I respect them, like, they just need to try other options, which I kind of understand. And other than that, I think he's just one of those players that maybe he needs to go to a lower league, if not to Mexico. I hope he doesn't go to Mexico yet, but I think he go to another smaller league and just kind of get that rhythm back and try to become the person that he was again.
Yeah, he needs to get over his mental block.
Yeah,
he needs his 2 years in Galaxy, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He went to heal his. I think it was his knee. So he went there and just shine.
yeah.
So Alchemy is just find it back. The hunger, the strikers. I feel that's what's lacking. He don't know when to shoot because physically he's fine.
Yeah.
Like we have seen him win duels, win against center backs. It's not his body. It's something in his mind.
Yeah.
So I hope he finds another team and somewhere he can shine because
So hopefully
I feel there's still light in him yet.
Yeah. There's still a little something, but hopefully that's not the last time we get to talk about the Premier League in this podcast. But let's move over to Spain, La Liga. Sevilla, who ends up 12th in the league, but still clinches the Champions League spot by winning the Europa League. Tecatito.
I mean, the moment they reached the final, we knew.
There's
what's going to happen.
I mean, it was an unstoppable force versus immovable object because Mourinho hadn't lost the final either. So it was definitely it was destiny against destiny, and Sevilla, I guess, has a stronger destiny and was able to get that.
Out destiny, the special one.
Yeah, out destiny, the destiny. And Tecatito, who plays in this team, his battle was against his knee. He was injured throughout the whole season pretty much, and he only played 110 minutes, but he was able to get a goal on his first match back from injury, which, I think is insane. He was out for such a long time. He said, you know what, guys, I can still play ball. And he showed us that in that first match back.
I mean, his stats of the season are pretty good if you see it like that. It's almost a goal a game.
Right? Yeah, I'll take it. That's something.
Yeah, that 1 goal in 110 minutes.
And Premier League and Champions League next season. So, Hey, who's going to argue about that right now, right?
Yeah.
La Liga, again, Real Betis, who ends up in 6th place on the table. They clinched that Europa League spot. We were hoping it was going to be a little more than that, but there's too many injuries. There was too much stuff going on. I think it's kind of hard, but maybe next season, if they gear up, they might be able to fight for that top 4. Andres Guardado against the inevitable passing of time. How did you see Guardado this season?
He was kind of great. Again, Guardado is constantly used fine wine.
Yeah.
Time passes him by. He just stays the same. He hasn't run like he did 10 years back, but he's still a pretty good midfielder. And you can see it by how the team is set up around him. He he played around like 40% of his minutes in the league, of all available minutes. And in the Europa League, also around 50%.
Yeah.
So Guardado has been playing as a pivot, like in if your setup is right, that's the position that runs less, technically,
Yeah.
outside of the keeper. Um, so he has been in that position and playing very well defensively. He has been really good in his challenges. He's constantly one of the better defensive duelist, if you can call it. He constantly wins his duels because he shows which to go in. He reads the game.
Yeah.
Also, he's a very good creative midfielder from a deep position. So his long balls constantly open up the game, and in general, he's the second captain of the team. Now he's gonna be the first now since Joaquin is retiring this season. So has been great for Guardado, and I think he's gonna keep going.
Yeah,
At least with Betis.
hopefully. He does announce a retirement from the national team, not from Betis. I think he's still extended for one more year at the very least. And I think for me, like, he's doing such a great job that I understand Coca's doing the generational shift. He's putting the young guys in, which I completely respect, and I love that he's doing. But if Guardado had snuck into that call-up, I wouldn't have been mad, to be honest with you.
No,
I think he's doing amazing. He has that leadership, obviously, and sometimes you need a little bit of that, right? But it was his decision to come out of that, and I respect that as well.
Yeah, I'd rather have him than Herrera or even more.
Yeah, so if you need some leadership, I think we could go there. But we move on to Espanyol Inge, who ends up as the 19th team in the La Liga table, which means, unfortunately, that they were relegated from the competition to the La Liga 2, the second division in Spain. What did you see about Cesar Montes, whose battle was the terrible tactics that Espanyol had defensively?
Yeah, Montes is one of those players that arrived from Liga MX ready to go. Like, he didn't need this time to get set up to this higher competition. Montes was ready. He was ready like 2 years ago to step up.
Yeah.
And sadly, he arrives to Espanyol that, as you said, is defensively really poor, especially in the setup. Their defensive setup isn't great. That they never knew how to work neither as a 2 center back system, neither as a 3 center back system. So it has been a mess.
Yeah.
Since Montes arrived, and I'm pretty sure before that. But even so, Montes ends up with 3 goals somehow, like better than a lot of strikers. I mean, we can talk about other countries' strikers, but Raúl Jiménez didn't score 3 goals as well. So let's not throw rocks.
You want me to name country strikers? I can name country strikers. Timothy Weah, Christian Pulisic.
Anyhow,
I got more.
In general, Montes turns out to be a really strong aerial defender. He's constantly one of the better players in the league, maybe the top 5 leagues in Europe in the air. Like any aerial duel you have against Montes, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
He's just like Air Force Español. I don't know how to say it.
Air Force Mexico or something.
Yeah, no, he's pretty great in the air. And also, strangely, his defensive output is mainly clearances. Not tackles, not interceptions, clearances. He sees the ball in the box and he just like hoofs it out of the out of the zone. Which, I mean, is Espanyol. You can leave the ball there, but it's weird. Still, I never saw him outclassed. even if he was beaten in the game by better players, he never seemed like a player from a lower division, like or some other like, oh,
Yeah,
he's not a La Liga player. No, he is a La Liga
he
player.
never looked like a player who it was his first season in La Liga.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
especially if you think he didn't have
who
a
didn't have a
preseason.
preseason, who didn't have
Yeah,
he did not look like that. He looked like he was been there, man. So it was an incredible
yeah,
season by Montes individually. I mean, he had his mistakes. You can argue
yeah.
with me. I'm not gonna fight with you, but not you. I'm talking like the audience. Like you can fight. I know you feel the same way as I do on this, but like he was just insane, man. And I think I wish Espanyol would have been a little bit. I wish they would have had a better coach that was more capable of coaching in the first division of Spain, and maybe
Yeah.
things would have gone differently. But other than that, great season by Cesar Montes, terrible season by Espanyol. Hopefully, we'll see him in the first division again next season with a way better team. But
Yeah.
Inge, it's time to talk about my favorite part in Spain, the second division, La Liga 2, Sporting de Gijón with Jordan Carrillo, who ended up in the 17th place of the league, almost close to relegation. But
Yeah.
Carrillo's fight was against his lack of experience in his youth. He's only 21 years old and he plays 730 minutes, who ends up with only 1 goal and no assists, which is really weird for a winger because Jordan has all the tools that he needs to get the ball to the final third. He literally ends up with 50% of his dribbles and he wins 50% of his duels per game. And he also gets fouled twice every game. That means that he gets to the final third so much that they literally have to foul him to stop him. He finishes 84% of his duels but he only ends up with 0.7 key passes. So all this tells you that yes, he can move the ball up there, but once he's there, I feel like he doesn't really believe it. He doesn't know what to do with the ball next, and he doesn't have that final output to be able to, put the ball on the ball and just put it in the net, or pass it to his teammate to put it on the net.
Yeah, he's like a Chucky Lozano without the end product.
Yeah, without being the goal scorer of the league or anything like that. Amazing player, one of my favorites to just watch in general, to just see with the ball, but definitely needs a lot of maturing to do.
Yeah, hopefully he gets a better team around him also the next season. But I mean, there's always been some rumors around him that he's really good. So hopefully he lives up to it.
Yeah, hopefully. We're talking about living up to expectations. Let's talk about Real Oviedo, who ended up in the 8th place somehow because they were just as bad as Sporting for a good while. They
Worse. Long
just ended
while.
up tying a lot and winning a couple games that they had to. But Marcelo Flores, unfortunately, his battle is against the expectations, the ridiculous expectations that people put on a 19-year-old. This kid is not ready yet. He's too green. You can't expect him to go out here and ball out against a professional league, which that's what League 2 is. It's a professional league. And he didn't do anything, to be honest with you. He didn't play after the first quarter of the season. He stopped playing.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for him to go back to Arsenal, play with the U20s and just try to get some minutes there, try to get up some reps, and hopefully he can get a little better. We will see him with the youth team of the national team. And I'm excited to see him in the Mauricio Rebelo, to see him in the other championships for this summer. So I think he's going to be a pretty good player, but we just have to be a little patient.
Yeah, he's maybe gonna be a late bloomer. He's never gonna be Mbappe or something like that. But he can be a good player. He just maybe needs time.
And even late bloomer to me is he's 19, man. Jordan Carrillo is 21 and he looks amazing, So I think Marcelo Flores, if he keeps trending up, by 21 he could look similar or maybe a little better. Who knows? We just gotta keep going. We just gotta keep looking.
Even if Jordan Carrillo next season becomes amazing and turns on to the La Liga, gets promoted, even there he's gonna be a late bloomer, because in football, by teenage you have to be. If you're gonna be someone, you need to be
in the world. But if we're talking about Mexicans, man, you gotta throw that out the window, man. All that goes thrown out the window. We don't.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah, we don't follow those type of rules. But I mean, we'll have to see. We'll just keep trying to monitor the situation. But let's head over to Italy, Inge, and talk about Serie A Napoli. the champions of Italy, the champions of the league. Obviously, they secure that Champions League spot. And Chucky Lozano, whose battle is what he thinks he is versus what he actually is. To me, Lozano is a guy who thinks he's that guy. He thinks he's the first option. But in a team where you have Osimhen and Kivicha, he simply was the third option in this team. And I'm not dissing him. To me, Lozano is one of my favorite players in Selección. He's an amazing player, but it is what it is. Right now, he was not the main guy. And in a season where we expected a lot from him, we expected him to be like just the savior of Napoli. We expected him to be that guy. He just wasn't. We thought he was going to be the left winger, but Kivicha just quickly showed us that he deserved that spot. And to me, like, he just finishes with 3 goals, 3 assists, and same as Matteo Politano, by the way, who played, I think, a little bit less than him or around the same time. It just wasn't exactly what we expected. But even after that, it is hard for me to say that he didn't deserve the title. To me, he did a lot. I think he was there to be an important player. He was the third option, like I said. So when Kivicha and Osimhen were being like shut down, they looked to Lozano's dangerousness. They looked to his speed. They looked to, have that third option to be able to either get on goal or pass that ball into the dangerous areas. So to me, I don't want to say they wouldn't win it without Lozano, but I think he was a great part of the squad and being able to win this title, man, because Napoli played as a machine together. And in a sense, he was part of that machine.
Yeah, he was a very important cog, but he was never the star, as you said. Like, Lozano feels like he wants to be, the main scorer, the main dangerous part, and he's never gonna be that. And in Napoli, especially when Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen is there, as you said. But even then, Spalletti always seems to have read Lozano as a dangerous player that's more like a decoy, a player that's gonna make your team seem the wider than it actually is.
Yeah.
You put it there to pull the center backs and the full backs and give Osimhen a little more freedom and let Kvaratskhelia not have to deal with 3 defenders, Like, he was always that kind of player, like a tactical player for the
like pulling marks, being able to open space. He
wasn't the solution to the problems. He was one of the parts of the machine.
He was an addition. But I think to me, it was still a great season. Like, overall, if you add in like the team performance, obviously you can't argue with that title regardless of what it was. So I think it was great. I hope he either stays or goes to a team where he can be an actual first option or second option at the very least. We're gonna have to see during the summer. Cremonese ENG, Serie A as well, but they end up in 19th in the league. That means they are relegated to the Serie B. And Johan Vazquez's fight is versus team quality that is in relegation form for 2 straight seasons. Tell me a little bit about how you saw Johan Vazquez.
Johan Vazquez this season was a center back that had to learn to just be everything in defense. Like, he became a player that can fill any position in the defense of the team. He played as a left center back. He played as a left fullback. He played as a middle center back in a 3-man setup.
Yeah.
He even played as a right center back. He just needed to play like the goalkeeper, and he had the whole setup. Yeah, and not only did he played that much, like that many positions, but he was benched for a long time in this season. He played only like around 50% of the minutes.
Yeah.
And even then, he improved a lot, like really a lot. He improved a little with in defense, like outside of the ball control, but his passing improved way more.
Incredibly,
He went from like 70% of his passes being complete to almost 80. That's a 10% jump in one season. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And just in general, he became like a really important center back in the league. He went like the top 15 in clearances, top 10 in interceptions, one of the better interception in the 5 big leagues. Uh, he's one of the top 20% better tacklers. I think it will be in general. I mean, Johan has been great, and especially he has improved on the ball. Like, he has played so much as a fullback that he has improved a lot on how to distribute the ball. He has become even a little bit of a danger on possession. Like creating some kind of not crosses but dangerous passes to the box.
Yeah, like to me, it was just one of the more interesting seasons, one of the more interesting storylines of the season, man. Like Johan Vasquez is just like, again, one of those players that like you're on the bench a lot, your coach switches, and like him already, so he believes in you. And ever since that new Genoa coach came in that he used to play with last season, it was just a completely different change to the story. He came in there and he was just doing his thing. He was showing everybody what he could do. And we could say it every single podcast, every single game was better than the last. And then he just kept going better. And now I'm excited for next season, man. I hope he can get to a team, if not still at Genoa, hope he can go to a team like at the very least, like mid-table. Obviously I'm not saying he has to go play for like Napoli or something like that, right? But I think he could be a nice little mid-table Serie A team.
Yeah, maybe not even like Atalanta, someone that is gonna fight for Europe, but he wouldn't be out of place in something like Sassuolo, someone right in the middle.
Maybe help out Memo with Salernitana or something like that.
But I mean, you could have a defender that can actually defend that.
Hey, that'd be great, man. But since we're talking about that, let's go ahead and get started with that one. Memo Ochoa Salernitana finishing 15th of the table, and Ochoa's battling his against the haters, man. All of them. Every single one of them. How was Memo Ochoa this season?
He was fucking amazing. That's the truth. He was called the best player of the season of his team, and he only played 14 games. Like 14 out of 38, I think.
He right in the winter window, like Montes.
Yeah, like and not even that. He didn't play all the games after the window. Like the goalkeeper was injured and he came back, and they benched Ochoa. But the coach like, oh, you know what? That wasn't arranged. Put him back. Put him back, and back he did. He went, and he did amazing. He got like a 10-game, 11-game run of no losses. For a team like Salernitana, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And playing against big teams, he had a great game against Milan, Inter, Napoli. He had a great game against Atalanta, and a not so good game where they scored 7 on him. But anyway, it was amazing this season. It was constantly kind of sad for me to see how good he was, and how much the people from Serie A, from other countries, from Spain, that sometimes they were like narrating the games, loved Ochoa, and I was thinking like, man, we don't know how to love these players. We're constantly always shitting on him, like we don't know how to love our stars. That's what it struck me as.
And that's what he is, man, a star. Like to the national team. Like I know the other countries, they don't see what happened with America. They don't see, they don't have all the details like we do. And I think, I include us in the conversation when I say like, we were saying a lot about like how Acevedo should have been a star, this and that, because we have that information. But even then, like what he did ever since he got to Salernitana, what he did in the previous World Cups, even this one, he saved that penalty to Lewandowski. Like he has done so much for the selección and for his team right now, Salernitana, that like you have to ban him as a legend, man. You have to respect that. And to me, he's a starter for the selección. There's not many choices, but to me, he's a starter for the selección no matter what. And I respect him, man. I hope he keeps going here. Hopefully a season or 2 more with Salernitana, something like that.
Hopefully, I feel they're close to sign. We're gonna talk about it in some soon to be recorded podcast about the transfer window. But I feel he could be for a while in Serie A. Like if he can keep up this form, he could be there. Like like what's the name of that goalkeeper from Italy that went like 42 and is playing on Serie A?
Oh, Gigi Buffon.
Buffon, exactly. So he could be that for Mexico, and if he keeps it up just a little longer, there ain't gonna be any more talk about who's the better goalkeeper in Mexico.
Yeah.
In all of history, it's gonna be Memo.
Yeah. And real quick before we go to the next country, ENG, 2 good seasons with Salernitana, 2 competent seasons. Does he deserve that 6th World Cup?
No, for sure. Especially if we don't get any better all the goalkeepers. Like we don't have 3 right now.
Yeah. At least bench, right? At least.
At least bench. Easily.
So moving on to the best part of the podcast, the best part of Europe, the juiciest part, we get Feyenoord and Santi Jimenez, who are the champions of Netherlands with champions of Netherlands, who also receive obviously the Champions League spot. And Santi Jimenez's fight was against the records of Luis Garcia and Chicharito. Inge, how did you see Santi Jimenez this season?
Santi Jimenez this season was a revelation. Like we have been, as one that follow kind of close Cruz Azul, we had been waiting for him to become something. He never were given like the spot to be the starter striker, to be the star of the team. He never was that. So he goes to Europe after a really good start of the season with like 5 goals in 4 games or something like that. And then just explodes, like he starts the season in the bench, getting 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then he gets better. He gets given 15, 20, 30. By January, he's playing half of the games as starter. By February, he's playing all of the games as starter. He never stops improving. And he ends up with 15 goals on the league, 5 in Europa. In both of those, he's one of the top 3 scorers. 3 goals on the cup, and the 5 of Cruz Azul. Like he doesn't stop scoring this last season. He's been great, and not only scoring, he's good outside of the ball possession. He's good in creating something for his teammates. He creates space. He makes runs that just gives you that threat that you can't ignore if you're a defender.
Yeah.
He has improved in every single way. He's great.
Yeah, and it was unexpected because we saw him, Santi Jimenez going in front, which, by the way, was the randomest thing of the window. And we were like, oh, cool, another Mexican in Europe. He looks pretty good. And it's so much, not just growth, but maturity. I remember one of the things that you had on him a lot was that he threw himself for penalties. And, he wasn't very disciplined and things like that. And the season started, and he just, like, so much maturity, man. By the end of the season, like, he's praising players from other teams, from other countries. And he's like, my teammates are the ones that set me up, this and that. Like, such a different person, like, such a different human being in general, man. And to me, it's just been amazing to see him grow. None of us expected for him to be this good. And it's going to be interesting to see if he can stay this good next season without Koksu, without a lot of the important pieces that Feyenoord has. I hope he can be that number 1 option. He can be that first threat for Feyenoord in the next season. But we'll have to see. Only time is going to be able to tell if he stays in Feyenoord, because there's a lot of rumors going on. Be sure to check out that video that we have coming up on transfers. And other than that, I think 10 out of 10 season for him.
Yeah, and it's very important what you just said, that we can't be sure if this is gonna be lightning in a bottle. The one season he is good, because Feyenoord made this team like in a week before before the season started. Like he was already playing with Cruz Azul. The season had already started, and from the Feyenoord that won, that lost the Conference League, to the Feyenoord that played this game against Roma, this quarterfinals against
Yeah.
Roma, they had like 9 different players in the starting line. That's how much the team changed. So we don't know if it's just that this team became really great this season and it's not gonna happen again, or if it's just gonna be good again or something like that. And if Santi is gonna be able to change from one team to the next,
Yeah.
that's important for a player, especially one that's not gonna be like, I don't know, like I will say Messi, but Messi changed teams already. Like some players stay with one team forever. I don't know if Santi's gonna be that. I hope not.
Yeah. We'll have to see on the window. So keep in touch with us to see how things move throughout the summer break. Edson Alvarez with Ajax Inge, who end up in 3rd of the league, which sounds pretty decent, but for Ajax, it's terrible. It's win or bust for them. The fans are not happy about this at all. Not even 2nd, let alone 3rd. They do qualify for the qualifiers of the Europa League, so not even straight Europa League. But Edson Alvarez's battle is against just that depleted talent that Ajax had this season.
Yeah, it became an exodus of talent from the team. They lost so many important players. They lost Haller that went to Dortmund. They lost Anthony and Lisandro Martinez that went to Manchester United. Gravenberch went to Bayern Munich. They lost many players, and Edson just was stuck. Like he wasn't given permission to leave. Thank God, because Chelsea was a mess. And he picked up so much of the slack. Like the signings of the window, the last window, were not great for Ajax. The striker was not great for them. The wingers didn't make any favors. The Bassi, the center back, wasn't great, and Taylor, the other. Yeah, I already said.
I know. I just wanted to say it twice.
So, my point is, Edson had to pick up. He needed to become a central midfielder that could carry the ball from the back to the front of the team. That's what Gravenberch did. Then he needed to be a center back that could cover for the rest of the team. So that's what he became when he played half of the season as a center back. He took Lisandro's place, and then Haller wasn't already there to fight those aerial duels. So Edson had to be the corner kick threat. Like he became all of that, and we saw how much he struggled to be all of that, and still, like I think he was one of the better players behind Tadic and Jules Reich with Timber.
I think
he was the spine of the team.
And it's not even a thing, man. It's like, man. Like we just know he was one of the best players for Ajax this season. He was one of the only talented, not only talented, but
talent. He just had the will to use it.
Yeah, the will. One of the will players that they had this season, man. And I mean, what a season by him. Obviously, he's only getting better every season. I'm excited to see just what his ceiling is, because I have no idea what his ceiling is. It's looking like every season he can get a little better. He can find something to work on. He can figure it out. And no, he's not the best in the forward game. He has some stuff to work on. But like, if he keeps going, or if he goes to a team that specializes in that, I think he can pick it up. I think he's one of those players that has that great work ethic. And I don't know. I'm excited to see how he still continues to develop. Even though he is 25, he still has some room for improvement.
And that's the improvement. He improved in almost every metric since last season. He improved in how much he touches the ball. His passes were better. His dueling was better. His carries were like 3 times as high as last season. Everything was better for him this season. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I think that's right there. That's gonna be the highlight of the transfer window. Yeah, Santi Jimenez isn't that, but he can still stay in Feyenoord. It's not a big deal. But Edson Alvarez Edson Alvarez is the highlight of the transfer window. So we'll have to see where he goes next season. PSV, okay, second in the league. Again, sounds great, but is it? Because in a season where Ajax was...
I know PSV, there's something to talk, but come on, you need to talk about Jorge Sanchez.
A la madre. Jorge Sanchez, Ajax. There is a second player in Ajax I almost forgot, but Inge didn't because he's on top of everything. Jorge Sanchez's battle was against Centros Culeros, Inge. This man
or as we say in English, Culeros Cross.
Culero crosses. CCs. In both languages, CCs. I think he had like one good cross in this season, but all jokes aside, man, like this was just kind of a rough first season for Sanchez. You know, a typical Ajax first season for many players. It's not that rare to see it, but I mean, I don't know, man. Like he did miss a lot of the first half due to quality, but then Wrench was injured, so he was given a lot of opportunities. But as soon as Wrench was back in able to play, they slaughtered him out, put Wrench back in. It was like they couldn't wait for him to get back. And he does have those 2 goals, 3 assists. He has little moments of flashes. I think his best game comes when he's able to cut into the midfield and be a part of that midfield to move the ball up. Yeah. I don't know, maybe a changing position could be great for him in the next season. That's why I don't think they should give up on him. He's a player that's very talented, that's very technical. He's good with the ball. Say whatever you want to say. So I hope they don't send him back. I think they can still, give him one more season to prove himself. He is a good player. We all know what he's about. He just needs to show them that he can do it.
Yeah, he was put on a very difficult position in the starting of the season. Range right at the beginning got injured, and Sanchez without preseason, without talking the language, he gets put on the fullback position as a starter, and he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
All of the first half of the season. He plays most of the Champions League games. He gets cooked by Kvaratskhelia, completely. Who doesn't get cooked by Kvaratskhelia?
His second game was against Liverpool or something. It was ridiculous, man. It was just something ridiculous.
Yeah. So he had a very difficult start, we know that. But also, he always seemed like half a player, but the problem was he was half behind on the attack and half behind on the defense. You felt like his lane was the most
susceptible
weak,
to attack.
Susceptible to attack. That's right. So I mean, I don't know how you fix that. That's something so succinct for a defender that if you can't defend, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it. For some people, it's it's half. So he's good in offense, but he's not good in defense, or vice versa. Yeah. Sanchez was half good in defense and half good in offense. So that was his half. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's nothing.
That's not what you want.
Yeah, no. So, that's a sad state of affairs for Sanchez. So hopefully he does better next season. Yeah. I hope he stays in Ajax. To be fair, completely fair, Schroeder, the manager, was terrible.
Yeah.
Just
if you want to talk about bad, that's bad.
That's the bad part of the season. The manager. So maybe a better manager can drive something out of Sanchez that, like Ten Hag did with Edson. He made him way better. So hopefully that's what he needs.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Hopefully. But going on to the next team we have is PSV. Eddie Gutierrez. They end up in second place of the league. They get that. They end up in second place of the league, and they clinch that qualifier spot for the Champions League. And that may sound pretty good, Inkem, but in a season where Ajax had a terrible squad, and we said it from the beginning, we said it's PSV season, because Ajax not looking very good. And then Feyenoord comes out good out of nowhere. AZ wasn't that good. No other team that comes to mind was able to dispute this championship. And Feyenoord just came out of nowhere and did it to them. And they were pretty bad for the beginning of the season as well. So just PSV biggest problem to me, and the thing that Aek Athens fought this season was against Van Nistelrooy's stubbornness to not play a 6 in the lineup. This is what hurt him the most, because he had all this like 3 offensive midfielders in the field at one time. Like he was like, you scored 3 on me, I'm gonna score 5 on you, I don't care. And I feel like if he would have had that little centerpiece in the middle to help him out with the defensive setup, it would have just been miles better. And that was kind of like a conversation the whole match. Like, hey man, like take one of the midfielders out, put Guti in, and you're straight. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And
and
never happened.
That seemed to be the plan, you know, like he wanted to score 5, but at the last 30 minutes, get Guti there and close the game.
Yeah.
But it never went that way, because they got always scored on fields.
Yeah.
That's always what happened with PSV.
Yeah. And it just didn't make any sense to us. But obviously, like, he was a coach, he knows what he's doing, he sees them during practice. That's what we always kept saying. But we have a little stat for you guys to look into.
He saw them because he got kicked. Remember?
He used to see them. But we have a little stat for you guys that's kind of interesting and shows kind of like what we're talking about. And this is all strictly statistical, you know, it's all numbers. It doesn't show you the full picture, or like it gives you the whole story, but it's pretty interesting because we have the plus minus and the on-off statistics. So Guti, when he's on the field, PSV wins by 1.66 goals. And when he's not, they only win by 0.42 points. So that's a difference of 1.24 when he's not on there. Now, Sangaré, who was a very good midfielder and probably like the best midfielder for them, he was there. When he was on the field, they won by 1.21 goals. And when he wasn't, they lost by almost a whole goal. So that's a whole difference of almost 2 goals when he's not there, when he's not playing.
Yeah.
So obviously you want to keep him in the lineup. But Veerman, who, to be fair, played well at the end of the season, when he was on the field, they won by 1.8 goals. And when he wasn't, they won by almost 2 goals. So that means the team played a little bit better when Veerman wasn't on the pitch. What does that tell you? Statistically, and with this statistic, if you put a midfield of, let's say, Guti, Sangaré, and Till, that would give you like the perfect balance of what you needed to keep the team like defensive and intact, and, you know, like a normal 4-3-3.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the statistics that sum up the whole season, but it's not the whole season, the numbers, you know, because Veerman was terrible at the beginning, but ends up being probably the best player the last two months. You know, he was brutal these last two months,
which is great. But maybe he could have come off the bench,
exactly,
and be great off the bench.
And that's the point. Is the setup? If how you start the game, how you think about the game, because PSV needs a destroyer, and they don't have one. Guti is whatever's closest to it, but he isn't really, you know. So I hope they buy some proper defensive midfielder, because they need one to fight against Feyenoord. Let's not talk about Ajax. Who knows what's going to happen to Ajax?
Their defense was not the best, but I think they had the tools to win the league. I think they had it. They had it.
At least give Feyenoord a better reporter.
That's why it sucks that they parted ways, but I think it's deserved, man. I don't think he should have coached there another season, because like
but
he should have won it. He should have won it. He should have won it. Moving over to Belgium, ENG, we have KRC Genk, second place of the league. Unfortunately, they do nab that qualifier for the Champions League spot, but man, like this one hurt. This is Gerardo Arteaga versus himself, because he's a great player. I think, to me, he was one of the most fun people to watch. I watched every single one of the games. I invested all the time. That's why this one hurt so much. Like, they were ahead the whole season by they almost had like a 16, almost 20-point cushion at once. And in the matter of after the World Cup, they vanished and they tied to go into the playoffs, and then they end up losing it. And Arteaga, I don't know what it was with him. Well, he gave us a pretty decent to subpar regular season, And when the playoffs came in, he just kicked it in. And he was like a completely different player. He was what I knew he could do starting the playoffs. He ends up with only 2 goals and 3 assists during the whole season and the playoffs. And unfortunately, his amazing performances isn't enough to get the title. And Genk just, I don't know what it was, man. It was like and Genk, like they lose that striker and they just completely lose the whole season after that. Like they were just one striker away from taking the trophy.
And that's the thing. They just said it's Gerardo Ortega against himself. I think it's Gerardo Ortega and Genk against whoever approved that sale. Because they not only lose Warnanchu, they lost the setup. They didn't have a system to score goals. That's what killed them. The second part of the season. And I mean, it was crazy closing. This last game today, where they were playing the 2 games at once, and they were like, in 10 minutes, 3 different teams were gonna be champions. It was crazy.
Yeah, the 3 contenders were all champions at one point.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the last 10 minutes, that's the thing. I mean, they were so close. And it didn't have to be close.
No,
What's worse?
It really did. One more win, and they would have won it. One more win.
But yeah.
Well, besides this one, if they had one more win before coming into this one, like it would have been fine. But I don't know, man. Like to me, just that final play in the added time to where they got scored on, like I want to paraphrase by saying it is not Arteaga's fault. The goal is not Arteaga's fault. It was a beautiful shot by Alderweireld. It was just, there's not much you can do about it. But when Arteaga comes back to cover that shot, you can see him kind of like put his leg up a little bit, like ever so slightly. And that's what bothered me, man. Like for those, you gotta die, man. For those plays, you either die or you kill the other guy. One of the others. Like, yeah, I'll take both. But like, you can't just give half. It's for the trophy, man. It's to be a hero. It's to be like celebrated. It's for the champagne showers. Like, I don't know, man. I can't forgive that one.
He should have been Luis Suarez against Nigeria. Jump like the king keeper.
You take a red and then you pack your bags to Premier League or something, man. It don't matter.
That's not what happened.
No, it's not what happened. But it is what it is, man. It was definitely a bummer for that one. But before we leave Belgium, let's talk about Don Wilk and Dagoberto Espinosa, who had a very great season, both of them together. Dagoberto, we weren't able to know too much about him, but we do know that he started pretty much every game. So that tells us that he at least was starting a level quality, and he was better than everybody else on the team. And Don Wilk ends up with like 11 goals in 15 games. So that also tells us that he was amazing. He does have a little bit of a injury right before the end of the season, but he comes back into it and he comes back scoring. He just like scoring a hat trick, actually. So, great player. I don't know why they don't call him up for the summer tournaments, but maybe it might be just to like take care of the injury. Who knows? But I'm excited for this guy, man.
Yeah, hopefully they get time with the main team. John Circle Brook has been like improving since the beginning of the season. Maybe there's some space for them.
Yeah. Let's go over to the Super League, ENG, not the one you're thinking about, the one in Greece, like we always say. Aek Athens, champions of the league, and they do nab that Champions League qualifier spot. Orbelin Pineda against the doubters of the all-fielder, ENG. How did Orbelin Pineda do this season?
And that's right. It's Orbelin Pineda, the all-fielder, because this season Orbelin has been everything that has been asked of him. He has played as a creative 10. He has played as a striker. He has played as a defensive pivot. He has played as a winger. He has played in the center. He has played as a fullback. He has done it all, and he has given his all playing those. He has been a really important part of this Athens team that won not only the league, but the cup as well. They got the double, and he was important in those 2 wins. Not only that, for a while, Orbelin was the main attacking force of Athens.
Yeah.
He had a spell of like 2 months when he was scoring like every other game. That he ends up with 9 goals and 2 assists, and most of those is right in the middle of those 2 months. Orbelin he did anything that Almeida asked of him, and it's been amazing to see. Hopefully next season he doesn't come back to Celta, or if he does, he gets given a place. But he has been fucking amazing.
I think he has to, man. If he goes back there, I think they have to give him time, bro. Like, and I as a starter, because these dudes were about to get relegated. Like, if he's not playing in a team that will almost get relegated, like that's just disrespectful. Because he was great. Like, I think, like you said, like we're not gonna say he was the best player in the team, but he was definitely top 2, top 3. At very worst.
He was. I couldn't say he was the best player of the team because the Argentinian Araujo was like the
crazy,
main
man.
scorer and creative for. He was great. So Orbelin is right behind him. You know, like he was everything else that the team needed. He ends up playing like almost 80% of the minutes as an outfielder, as we said. You know.
And they grabbed the lead. They grabbed the double with the cup trophy. So it's the second time that Almeida and him are able to get that double. Once in Chivas, once now over here in Athens, and it's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful relationship, and it's beautiful to see. Hopefully, though, they break off the relationship and he can go back to a top 5 league. But we'll see what happens.
Maybe he can take Almeida with him.
Yeah, maybe. But he seems pretty comfortable there. So who knows, man? It's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
Going over to Poland, Ekstraklasa, Miedz Legnica, last place in the table. So obviously they are relegated. And Santi Naveda's battle is against the knees that he did not break in the Ekstraklasa. He broke a lot of knees, but he missed a couple. And I think those are going to haunt him in his dreams.
That's all you can think about, the knees you didn't break.
Yeah, he's like... Well, yeah, El Rompepiernas Naveda, he did have like very few minutes. But when he played, you kind of see that quality, man. Like he had so many like great numbers and so many efficient numbers where like everything he did was just like good. Like, it would be like, oh, 3 out of 3 duels or like 3 out of 3 long balls or something like that. It was always like whatever he tried, it worked. So it's just a player where like we just love to see him ball out, man. Like he has a little something to him that we really can't put a finger on, you know? And it's interesting. And hopefully he's going to go back to America right now. Hopefully he gets regular minutes or he gets sent somewhere where he will get regular minutes because he deserves it, man. Like I said in one of the podcasts, I don't know if it's just because he was in Europe and we watched him a lot that we got a soft spot for him, but it's just he has that aura, man. He has something about him.
Yeah, he makes me think of Edson, you know, like not so much like a technical player, but someone that's willing to go out there and fight. You know, that and I know we give him a lot of crap about those like the rompepiernas thing because he played like his first 5 games he got like 7 yellow cards or something like that. I know, but all of that he was good.
Yeah,
so,
like
it's kind of hard to say.
At the very least, he wasn't bad. At the very least,
yeah. I mean outside of the cards, but still, I do have a soft spot because he is such a defensive midfielder, you know, like mainly a defensive midfielder, that he's a destroyer. That's not a normal thing to have in neither Mexico nor any other league. Just ask Eredivisie. It's Edson and no one else, you know, so maybe they could use him. Hopefully he finds some place.
Let's not forget, we didn't talk about it in the Spanish version, but let's not forget that golazo he had in like his 2nd or 3rd game ever playing for them. It was like outside of the box. I think it was inside the box, but it was a volley just into the net, man. Beautiful, beautiful goal. So yeah, man, he's got it. He's got the sauce, man. You just gotta develop it and kind of get more mature.
Yeah,
learn how to tackle.
Find a place where they need that sauce.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. But alrighty, last time of the season, who for you was the best player of the season? But actually, let me go ahead and say mine first, because mine's a little cliche. I think everybody agrees with this one, but it has to be Santiago Jimenez, man. Like, 4th goal scorer in the league, 2nd goal scorer in the Europa League. He was the leading scorer for a good minute. And, I mean, he broke how many records? I think he broke the records for how many records were broken by a Mexican. Like,
it was by a Mexican.
Yeah.
I mean, not name Hugo Sanchez.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Second. But yeah, man, an amazing season by him. Obviously, he has his trophy, and I mean, you can't really argue too much with putting somebody else, I think.
I mean, Jimenez was great. You know, but
Santi
he
Jimenez.
was Santi Jimenez was great, but he was helped by a great coach, a great team. He wasn't even the best player of his team, being fair. But I mean, I chose Memo Ochoa, and you can say whatever you can, but he was both the best player of his team. He didn't have a great coach. He didn't have a great team, but he stuck the landing and got them out of the relegation.
All the opposites. Yeah, that's the hard part for me, man. Like, because how do you compare an outfield player to a goalie, or even an outfield to a defender? You know, because you're judged by how many goals you score, and he scored like 25 in a season. And Memo Ochoa, like, he gets judged by how many goals he saves, and he saved a lot, man. So I think they were both amazing players. Like,
yeah.
Like
Ochoa my
Hey.
point when choosing is, if Santiago Jimenez didn't play on Feyenoord, they probably would still won the title. Probably. But without Memo, Salernitana probably gets relegated.
Yeah. That's fair. Because, like, as much as we want to say, like, he was better than Danilo was still scoring.
Yeah.
So even if he wouldn't have scored as much as Santi, he still would have scored, you know? So yeah, man, like, I think it was it's a good debate. It's a good debate. It's a good debate.
Yeah, and it's as you said, it's really difficult to weigh such different players, you know, a goalkeeper and a striker, but also one's playing on the Eredivisie and one's playing with Serie A, you know?
Yeah,
like,
so
it's
many
not
different.
The same.
Yeah.
It's not the same getting scored on by Excelsior and Inter.
Talking about different leagues, who was your favorite team of the league of the season?
Oh, well, obviously my favorite team of the season was the champion of its league. They were eliminated from Europe in the quarterfinals, but they were on the semifinals of the cup. So not Napoli, but Feyenoord. I think they were very good on the league, even though they didn't have as many points as some other teams from the Mexicans. They just had, like, as we said before, you know, like lightning in a bottle. Just such a good coach that improved every aspect of every player.
Yeah.
They were playing amazing. They were doing a lot of stuff that they weren't supposed to do with a team with that size and money, you know, like, they were amazing.
Yeah. No, to me, it's got to be Napoli, man. Like, I mean, I get it, this and that, but, like, you're in a top 5 league. You win by 16 points. Feyenoord won by 7, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, I mean, at one point, they had an even bigger lead than that, but then just kind of, like, they kind of chilled out after the World Cup. But no, man, like, to me, I think Napoli did what they had to do. They had to, and he did have some lightning in the bottle players, you know, Osimhen, Kivicha, ENG. But other than that, you know, the midfield could use a little bit of work and things like that. I think Spalletti knew what he was doing. I think he did a great job coaching his team. He did a good job with the pieces that he had, man. And Napoli bit a league that used to be dominated by Juventus, you know, that used to be always dominated by the same team, and who had a Milan and an Inter who had just won the league a couple of years ago as well. I think I would give it to Napoli for this one.
I mean, it's totally fair, but at the same time, you know, that's the worst Juventus that has been in like 20 years. The Milan team was injured at a time. There seemed like the Kidman was playing. So, you know, Inter has had a lot of problems with Inzaghi, even though they're probably going to win the Champions League somehow. I mean, the league was such a mess that behind Napoli, there's Lazio. That's how much of a mess is on the rest of the teams, you know. And I know Ajax is not great right now.
Yeah, no, you want to talk about teams in the league, man. Like, yeah, say it with your chest, man. Say it with your chest. Ajax was terrible. They sold everybody. They didn't buy anybody that was good. PSV had no defenders, and the one that they had wasn't being played. And, like, AZ wasn't even that great either. Like, it was just, the league was also disbalanced, man. So I think it's two parallels to side. I see Napoli, man.
I still say Feyenoord went further on the cup.
That's the reasoning. Okay.
And Napoli was eliminated by Cremonese, a team that was relegated.
Oh, man. All right, we'll leave it up to the people to go ahead and say. So let us know in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you think Feyenoord or Napoli did a better job? Or maybe you have another team in mind. Let us know. Again, tell us also your player. Who do you think was the player of this season? Do you agree with one of us? Let us know. But all right, people, I think we don't have much to talk about in the news.
Let's end it here. It's long enough
of the episode. So go ahead. We will see you guys in the next episode. Next national team, senior team game, we will do it. And we're not going to do it after every single senior team game. So probably sometimes we'll have 2 episodes a week, whatever lands there. So be sure to check it out. Follow us on the social media, like we said, so you guys know when we have a new episode. But other than that, guys, you guys have a great week. Thank you for listening to us. I am Jorge.
My name's Edgar.
Have a great rest of your week. See you next game.
Theo, Leon had a very tactical win against LAFC.
I think it was more emotional, but it's okay.